All right, y'all, we are back with another video. I definitely had to bring y'all this because JD Vance just absolutely went off, especially on these Democrats. And then we seen what this 29-year-old liberal just did yesterday in Texas, pretty much shooting two immigrants. I think he took one out, trying to kill the ICE officers and stuff like that. And now you got like the Democrat Party is pretty much trying to say it's MAGA fault that this liberal just did what he did. I don't know why it always like this. It seems like every time somebody do something like this, what do the Democrats do? They say, oh, it's Donald Trump's fault. It's J.D. Vance's fault. It's the whole Trump administration's fault. They do this all the time. And now J.D. Vance is sick of this. And he, like I said, he just absolutely went off. And then we even got more updates and stuff like that on how this guy, Joshua John, which he was 29 years old. And a lot of people trying to say he's the copycat of what the other guy, just did to Charlie Kirk. So like I said, I'm just so sick of this. And this is coming from CNN, MSDNC, because that's what President Trump, he don't call it MSNBC. He call it MSDNC. Because like I said, this is just crazy. And they just won't stop. And the rhetoric just constantly coming out. And then when it happened, the left blames the right for it. Every single time. So like I said, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Shout out to everybody showing so much support. And shout out to the one that always watches the entire video. I really, really appreciate it because it definitely helps get the video out there. So thanks to everybody who let me know in the comment section that you did stay to the end. I really, really appreciate it. And the ones that come straight in and hit that like button. If you haven't hit the like button yet, please stop what you're doing. Hit that like button for me. It definitely helps out a lot as well. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive straight into this so I can get y'all up to date with everything going on. Not other than that, though, President Trump absolutely went off on Kamala Harris because now she's on this little old Cry Me a River tour, talking about how close she was to beating Donald Trump. And President Trump just absolutely goes off. But I'm gonna say that towards the end of the video. So make sure you stay to the end. All right. So let's start it over here with JD Vance. Say breaking. JD Vance fumes after the ICE shooting. Check out what JD Vance said.
And they said that immigration enforcement, you know what they said? That immigration enforcement had detained a 5-year-old autistic girl in order to get to that girl's father. Turned out that story was a complete fabrication. It was a complete dishonest lie. But when you go around and lie about our law enforcement and you tell them that they're mistreating 5-year-old girls, what do you think is going to happen? When Democratic politicians incur doxing, when they encourage us to unmask ICE enforcement officers, what do you think is going to happen? When the mayor of Los Angeles encourages violent protesters to get in the face of our law enforcement, what do you think is going to happen? What's going to happen is political violence, and political violence has gotten out of control in this country. We got to stop it. We got to condemn it. And that starts, unfortunately, at the very top of the Democratic Party. If you want to stop political violence, stop attacking our law enforcement as the Gestapo. If you want to stop political violence, stop telling your supporters that everybody who disagrees with you is a Nazi. If you want to stop political violence, look in the mirror. That's the way that we stop political violence in this country, and we've got to do it.
There you go.
And while we're all mourning and rooting for and praying for everybody who was injured at that ICE facility, and as far as we know, it looks like some of the detainees, in other words, some of the potential illegal aliens, were some of those who were affected. Look, just because we don't support illegal aliens, we don't want them to be executed by violent assassins engaged in political violence either. So we're praying both for our ICE agents, but also for everybody who's affected by this terrible attack. But that was an ICE facility. And as these guys behind me know, and a few of our police officers know, police officers writ large face too many threats.
Salute to JD Vance, man. And that's what I like about him. And that's why I say before, I believe JD Vance is going to do a good job in 2028. I don't see nobody over there at the Democrat Party able to beat him. Who you going to get? AOC? Gavin Newsom? Gavin Newsom can't even run California. How in the world can he even be president? He can't even run California. You think he can run the United States of America? He can't. And like I said, JD Vance pretty much confirmed the ICE shooter was politically motivated. Imagine my shock.
I don't know if you all have followed the news, and we're still learning a little bit about it, but what we know is that in Dallas, Texas, an ICE facility, an Immigrations and Customs Enforcement facility, was opened fire upon by a violent left-wing extremist, a person who wrote anti-ICE messaging on their bullets, and there's some evidence that we have that's not yet public, but we know this person was politically motivated. They were politically motivated to go after law enforcement. They were politically motivated to go after people who are enforcing our border. And I think that is the most disgusting.
And that's crazy there. And I got to show you that they said that this shooter had some type of device that he was able to track the ICE officers, because that's who he tried to kill. So we're going to get to that in just a second. So this right here say, this is another that I wanted to show y'all, because this right here was just absolutely amazing. This kid say that he skipped school just to be able to take a picture with J.D. Vance, and J.D. Vance invited him onto the stage. Now, I definitely wanted to throw this in here and show y'all this, man. Let's go.
Come up here.
Let me take a
name. Henry. It's good to meet you, Henry. Ask your question, please.
He said, I skipped school today. I was wondering, can I take a picture with you? Wow.
Come up here. Henry said, I skipped school. Can I have a picture with you? Well, I guess you got to have some excuse to skip school, so I might as well get a photo with Henry.
That's all right there, man. Wow.
Well, all right. Okay.
Go Henry. That's all right there. That's why you just love J.D. Vance, man. You just love J.D. Vance.
All right. Now the next reporter is going to be, hey, I'm from CNN. Can I get a photo with you too?
Salute to J.D. Vance for that right there, man. So this right here, y'all, this is the guy right here, the suspect, the shooter. And then after he did the shooting, he executed himself. That's what's being reported. So this is the guy right here that say he was 29 years old, and he pretty much had some type of tracking device to be able to track the ICE officers. And we about to get ready and get into that clip, but this is the guy. So you can see right here by Eric Dawes that just then, Dallas, Texas ICE shooter letter confirms left-wing ideology. He wrote that ICE employees are people showing up to collect a dirty paycheck. So, like I said, this is just crazy, man.
Initially, I want to commend the cooperation of the Dallas Police Department, the Dallas County Sheriff's Office, the FBI, the ATF, ICE, and HSI for their swift and decisive response to this crime. Members of these agencies quickly secured the scene and the evidence and worked tirelessly to determine any continuing threat. Due to their efforts, it did not take long to ascertain the identity of the shooter, who was deceased by a self-inflicted gunshot wound, and that he very likely acted alone. His name is Joshua Yan, 29, of Fairview, Texas. Let me just review a very brief summary of the timeline of yesterday's attack. We believe at some point around 3 o'clock in the morning that the suspect was seen driving on footage with a large ladder on his car. And we believe that that is what he used to position himself on top of the building. The shooting itself started at approximately 6:30 a.m. After the shooting started, Dallas Police Department arrived en masse, secured the scene. Law enforcement officers found the sniper dead. They found bullets on the rooftop, one of which was labeled with the words anti-ICE.
Wow.
That morning, gunshots sprayed the length of the building, the windows, and law enforcement vans that were in the Sallyport area. Detainees were struck by these bullets. One was killed, 2 were wounded, and both of them are undergoing treatment. Shortly thereafter, the FBI began its meticulous work at the crime scene. At the same time, we obtained and executed multiple search warrants yesterday for devices and locations associated with the sniper. FBI agents executed a search warrant at the sniper's residence yesterday and there found a collection of notes. First, I want to point out that one of these notes or papers, the sniper explicitly states, "Yes, it was just me." That statement appears to be correct at this point in the investigation. Notably, these loose notes included a game plan of the attack and target areas at the facility. He called the ICE employees people showing up to collect a dirty paycheck.
Wow.
He wrote,
and like I said, they just come from listening to the left-wing media. And you see the crap that Gavin Newsom is saying. Why he want ICE agents to be unmasked so their identity, people can see who they is and dox them, go after their family. That's what I'm saying. These Democrats just don't care. I can't see how anybody in 2028 can vote for Democrats. They obviously don't care about the American people. They care about giving money to illegal aliens, keeping them on health care. Look what Chuck Schumer trying to do to President Trump by threatening to shut down the government if President Trump don't let him, get them money to give to these illegal aliens. This stuff is crazy. And you got people out here that's listening to them and then deciding they going to go, do these crimes. That's why I said stuff just had to stop. Exactly what J.D. Vance just said.
Wrote that he intended to maximize lethality against ICE personnel and to maximize property damage at the facility. He hoped to minimize any collateral damage or injury to the detainees and any other innocent people. It seems that he did not intend to kill the detainees or harm them. It's clear from these notes that he was targeting ICE agents and ICE personnel. The tragic irony for his evil plot here is that it was a detainee who was killed and 2 other detainees that were injured when he fired into the Sally Port. He also hoped his actions would give ICE agents real terror of being gunned down, and he did this to induce constant stress in their lives.
Wow.
He hoped his actions would terrorize ICE employees and interfere with their work, which he called human trafficking. And this, what he did, is the very definition of terrorism. Again, his notes reveal, yes, it was just me and my brain. And he said, good luck with the digital footprint. And of course, we take this to mean that he deleted evidence from his devices. His words were definitively anti-ICE. That said, we did not find evidence of membership in any specific group or entity, nor did he mention any specific government agency other than ICE. Among his papers, though, was a handwritten note in which, in crude words, he expressed his hatred for the federal government.
Wow.
Finally, I want to address the heroism of our federal agents yesterday. While under fire, ICE agents and ATF agents who were also present in the facility's Sally Port area worked together to remove detainees from the vans and get them to safety while the bullets were flying. These agents were heroic, clearly willing to lay down their lives to save the lives of the detainees in their custody. And that's an extremely important point to make at this point in time. I want to express my deepest appreciation for the bravery of these law enforcement officers yesterday and every single day that they go out there to keep us safe. I'll now turn it over to FBI Special Agent in charge of the Dallas field office, Joe Rothrock. Thank you.
So, you hear that right there. So, here's the one where I wanted to show y'all. This is the next guy that got on the mic. pretty much exposing what the guy did. Say, breaking ICE Marcos charge say the Dallas shooting suspect Joshua Wan used ICE tracking apps. And he rips the media for promoting the apps. This is insane. So they promoting this app so people like that, like Joshua Wan, can go after ICE agents. And like I said, I showed y'all what President Trump said about this yesterday. President Trump absolutely went off. He had a long message on Truth Social that went over pretty much saying, you know, how it's the Democrats' fault because they the one fueling these people to go do this. So check out what Marco Charles just said.
Removal operations. The attack on ICE's Dallas field office yesterday was tragic. And while our hearts and prayers are with the family of the detainees who were shot, the evidence is clear that this was intended as an assault on ICE personnel who come to work every day to do their job. Violent rhetoric has led to over 1,000% increase in assaults on ICE officers, and it has to stop. In contrast to those who would demonize our men and women, yesterday our brave officers ran back into danger, along with ATF, our partners, to save the detainees while shots were still being fired. Those ICE officers just showed the world who they really are. Law enforcement officers who want the best for our country. That's ICE. Integrity, courage, excellence. They were willing to put their lives on the line to pull detainees out of the transport van to get them to safety. They are heroes, and I hope the media has the integrity to shine a light on this story. Enough is enough with the harmful lies and violent rhetoric. It has to stop. The shooter used the ICE tracking apps. Anyone who creates or distributes these apps that is designed to spot, track, and locate ICE officers are well aware of the dangers that they are exposing to law enforcement. It's a casting call to invite bad actors to attack law enforcement officers. It's no different than giving a hitman the location of their intended target, and this is exactly what we saw happen in Dallas yesterday.
Wow.
The media has been amplifying these apps even as we warned them it would only lead to more attacks on law enforcement. We truly wish we didn't have to say, "I told you so," but here we are. ICE continues to prioritize the safety and security.
And you can see on the screen that ICE shooter used apps created to track immigration agents. My God, man.
Of our personnel, detained aliens, and facilities. We will do everything possible to increase security to counter the increased wave of these lethal attacks. Again, we call on those who foment violence and vilify our law enforcement officers to cease the dangerous rhetoric. We also call on law-abiding Americans everywhere to report any suspicious activity. The individual that was out there yesterday shooting at our agents and our officers was trying to take the lives of law enforcement people doing their job. Instead, he killed a detainee and shot 2 others. That is something that's unacceptable. The rhetoric that's out there on social media, the rhetoric that is being said by some community leaders in other states needs to stop.
Exactly. Definitely.
There's been an increase in violence against ICE agents, not only in Texas and Dallas, but across the country in violent protests. Again, I ask everybody, just stop.
Oh, and then you hear that's what he said right there. But it didn't stop there because you know how Jessica Tarlock, I mean, she say some of the stupidest stuff that I just ever heard, man. And it takes somebody like a Jesse Waters or Greg Gutfield to absolutely just put her on her place because she don't know what she be talking about. So you see right here say, wow, Greg Gutfield just went off on Jessica Tarlock and leftists for encouraging leftist violence. Listen to this.
That I said anything worthy of that level of explosion.
Your rationalization of both sides. You have to understand, since Kirk's death, there is no both sides anymore, Jessica.
Why did the DOJ take down the study that showed how much right-wing extremism.
What study was that? Which one? The one in The Economist that was sponsored by a group run by a guy in Antifa? That study that has been discredited by the Federalist? You're walking down a really bad alley right now.
Federalist?
Yes. I actually did see, Jessica, I did the deep dive on that study. That study was authored by a project that was run by a guy who says he was an Antifa. That is why that whole thing has been scrubbed, okay? It's real simple. You label someone a fascist or a racist or a Nazi, it makes you free to attack them, and that has been the ideology from the start. It's weird.
So why?
No. Let me talk.
Trump does it.
What?
Just tell me why it's okay.
I'm getting there. I'm getting there.
Great. I'm enjoying this.
Okay. You won't be for long. The left calls Trump a hate monger. They have called me a hate monger because I ridicule the left. I ridicule protesters. I ridicule academia, Hollywood, the news media. I make fun of The View every day. I make fun of the UN. Guess what? No one acts on the things that I say because my side doesn't do that. We say people are stupid. We say people are wrong, but we don't say they're evil. That is your game, okay? And then you come and you say, okay, man, this is a mentally ill loner. Well, who do you think does this stuff? It's not Ben Affleck. It's not Tom Brady. It's not even Carrot Top. People who do this stuff are always that way. The question is, who points them in that direction? Why pick ICE? Why pick Kirk? Why target TV stations and put bombs under Fox trucks? Why vandalize memorials? Why kill kids in Catholic schools? Two things can be true. A person can be mentally ill, and you can be guiding him to that place in his life. That is how brainwashing works.
There you go right there. I don't even have to respond to that because, like I said, Greg Gutfeld just absolutely went off. And everything he said is correct. Yes, he make fun of The View. He say little stuff, but he don't never say things that make somebody want to go do something to him. If you watch Greg Gutfeld, he all about jokes. He may just make everything funny. He never say anything that just makes somebody say, oh, we need to go do something to the ladies on The View. We got to do this because they be saying this about Trump. He don't do that. Their side do it. So he's exactly right. Now, check this out right here by Fox News. Tom Homan said that hate is being fueled by the media and members of Congress. We've got to stop.
This is based on hate. Hate that's being fueled by the media and members of Congress and governors and mayors. We got to stop. ICE agents are enforcing the law Congress enacted. If you don't like what ICE is doing, then go tell Congress because they wrote the laws that ICE is obligated and took an oath to enforce.
Yep.
They're making this country safe again. Every day, they take a public safety threat or a national security threat off the street. It makes that community safer. All these politicians and mayors and governors should be calling President Trump and thanking them.
Exactly, Tom. And he's exactly right. Now, last but not least, I want to show y'all this. Because President Trump goes off on Kamala. Because like I said, she's on this little old crybaby tour pretty much. She's still blaming Joe Biden, talking he didn't drop out in time. If she had more time, she would have won. Look, Kamala, you could have had 3 years to go against President Trump. You still would have lost. You couldn't answer questions. You lied about Joe Biden's health the entire time. You don't know how to run a country. You didn't even know how to be a VP. You lied about being a border czar. Who wants you in charge? All you did was laugh. Everything was just funny to this woman. So President Trump caught wind of it. He said Kamala Harris, who is dumb as a rock, is going around and using as a standard part of her speech on why she lost the election, that 2024 was the closest presidential election in the 21st history. Everybody knows this is a lie and was covered as such by Fox News. I won the Electoral College 312 to 226, a landslide. Counties nationwide, 2,600 to 525, a landslide. All 7 swing states, a landslide. And despite the fact that California fake mail-in ballots came in at a ridiculous numbers, it was rigged, I still won the popular vote by millions. Bush, as an example, won the election by 537 votes, and many other elections were very close. Kamala's closest in the 21st century soundbite was like everyone else in the Democrat Party, a total lie. I expect an apology. Thank you for your attention to this matter. And like I said before, salute to President Trump. Salute to President Trump, because like I said before, he's not playing around at all. He's not playing around at all. Now, I showed y'all this one right here. about the Texas incident, and President Trump said, I have been briefed on the deadly shooting at the ICE field office in Dallas, Texas. It has now been revealed the deranged shooter wrote anti-ICE on his shell casings. This is despicable. The brave men and women of ICE are trying to do their jobs and remove the worst of the worst criminals out of this country, but they are facing an unprecedented increase in threats, violence, and attacks by deranged radical leftists. This violence is the result of the radical left Democrat constantly demonizing law enforcement, calling for ICE to be demolished and comparing ICE officers to Nazis. The continuing violence from radical left terrorists in the aftermath of Charlie Kirk's assassination must be stopped. ICE officers and other brave members of law enforcement are under grave threat. We have already declared Antifa a terrorist organization, and I will be signing an executive order this week to dismantle these domestic terrorism networks. I am calling on all Democrats to stop this rhetoric against ICE and American law enforcement right now. The Trump administration is fully committed to backing law enforcement, strong borders, securing our homeland, deporting violent illegal criminals, and fully rooting out the left-wing domestic terrorism that is terrorizing our country. Thank you for your attention to this matter. And like I said, that right there is what President Trump had to say about it, just in case a lot of you missed the video from yesterday. And make sure y'all go back and watch that. But let me know what y'all think about all of this down below in the comment section. Like I said before, JD Vance just absolutely went off. And then we got like more update. This guy, the shooter, used some kind of a tracking device to track the agents. He knew where they was going to be. Pretty much did exactly what this the other guy that just got caught did. Had a ladder, climbed on top of the roof. I mean, like, this stuff just has to stop, man. It just has to stop. It's just getting worse and worse and worse. But like I said, thank you all for watching, especially the ones that made it to the end. I will keep y'all up to date as more information come out. Thank you all for watching, and I'll catch y'all in the next one.